Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Today is a very historic day. For those of you who don't know, I live in the United States, right? United States. And today is 9/11. 9/11 is a very important day. 22 years ago, I should say, there were Twin Towers in New York City. Mind you, I wasn't alive at the time. I'm 21, so in a few months I'll be 22. So I'm about the same age as 9/11. About a few months apart from the events of 9/11. But that entire time, 9/11, right? Um, you know, my entire life, my country's always been at war because of 9/11. And it's just very sad. The whole thing is just sad. Um, the fact that people died, the Twin Towers, we'll never forget that. The firefighters and the first responders that died, saving those people coming out of those Twin Towers, and it's just very sad. My dad was locking up the military base at the time in 2001 and 9/11, September 11th. Just the whole thing is very sad. So, and people always say, "Oh, that's so unfair. Why is the United States in all these countries?" Well, you gotta remember, some of these terrorists. Well, most of them are from Afghanistan, but I think, but you look at it, or at least for some of, I know Osama bin Laden was hiding in Afghanistan, although he was hiding in Pakistan in 2011 when we got him. But, well, it is very sad that our whole country's been at war for this whole time. You just gotta remember the anger that people had towards these group of people. And while was it justified to take over those countries? I would argue not really. I would argue that we should have had Congress actually formally declare war. We're so stupid to let the president decide an aggressive pact. But that's the way Congress decided to respond to the war power. They didn't actually formally declare war. And we haven't used the war power since World War II. Meaning our Constitution, we live in a post-constitutional republic. There is no Constitution really anymore. Not the way it's supposed to function anyway. And so, I think the whole thing is very sad. The fact we didn't formally declare war. The fact that, NATO on the ground has also been trying to help us. The fact that the terrorists, it doesn't seem to matter what we do. They just seem to come back because the middle class movement in the Middle East, most of the wealthier middle class families are the ones that are doing it. And we should probably stop it. And so I want to live in a country where where we're going to have peace soon. And I expect there to be a new era of peace. And I hope to the end of this 9/11 era. We should never forget it, but at the same time, we should not continue to fight in wars that are not going to help us anymore. It's pretty much done. We're going to enter a new era of stagnation as the world stage. We should just let other countries police themselves. And I think that's a much better policy than going into a country and not knowing what to do just because we're mad at a bunch of terrorists. I think that's a much better policy. I think that the terrorists, almost all of them, are dead now. The ones that did do the attack and the ones that planned it are probably almost all dead, I would argue. They just got new forces, and the new forces are only mad at us for attacking their country, which it's it's probably a 70-year thing. It's probably since the 1970s that we've been messing with these countries. So it's probably not just a long line of this 2001. It must have been longer than that. You look at Iraq, we didn't mess with them in the 90s. We should have never destabilized the Middle East. We should have just left them alone. They were more stable under that dictator guy, which still, he was a very terrible person, than having a war. I don't know what's worse, having a war or having a dictator. At least having a dictator, you create stability. At least having a war, you get nothing. You get anarchy. You get absolutely terrible trading done. At least a dictatorship, the trade is at least, it's regulated, which is kind of terrible. It's still restricted, and still people starve, but at least it isn't, people aren't dying of just absolute brutal ways, you know what I mean? Not the most brutal. You just let the dictator do his thing and you don't speak out. You'll be probably better off than if you were in a war. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I mean, dictatorships are often geared towards war, which is what he did. He started a bunch of wars. We were kind of pissed off at him for. Uh, but like, that's the thing, right? It obviously people were pissed off at us. Maybe our best plan is not to make people mad. I don't know what the solution is, but we made way too many people mad. Someday we will learn not to. In the United States. But I respect anybody who went over there and fought to avenge the people who died in those towers. I will respect them for that. At least they have more spine than the freaking politicians that signed the aggressive pact. They didn't go there and fight. I don't think there's very many people of Congress who would go there and fought those wars. You know what I mean? If you let's say you signed the aggressive pact and you went and fought in those wars, okay, then I have some respect for you. But you signed the aggressive pact knowing that there's going to be a few American lives dying, and you just don't really care as a politician, which is what most politicians don't really care. Then screw you. You were a complete mess, complete joke. George Bush is, while he was in the military, George Bush was the one who signed the aggressive pact as well as bunch of members of Congress. Screw them. They didn't go in the. They didn't actually keep true to their word. I feel like people who want to sign an aggressive pact with a country instead of formally declaring war, you should go to war. In some ways, you should actually be in the war, the battlefield. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, that's besides the point. You are someone, I'm someone else. Talking about how terrible an event this whole day was. Hopefully, you had a better day than. Hopefully you'll always have a better, hopefully 9/11 will be a better and better day than it was in 2001. Goodbye.